Well, a while ago, Omnivorous Reader suggested I take another look at Alan Dean Foster. So I decided to take a look at I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but the Tar Aiym Krang by Alan Dean Foster, Ballantine Books, 1972. Now I started looking for some Alan Dean Foster at the bookstores, and I came up with this right away, a nice hardbound Design for Great Day, which Alan Dean Foster really enjoyed Eric Frank Russell's science fiction. And he turned one of Eric's shorter stories into a novel here. And I'll do a review on that, probably in the next week or so. Copyright 1995 by Flinx Incorporated. That has a lot to do with the Tar Aiym Krang. So I had read this by Eric Frank Russell about a year ago, and I'll be doing a review of both of these books, and I will also include my older copy of the Tar Aiym Krang, which it turns out Del Rey and Ballantine had reprinted here recently. So here they are both together. This is the one that I read. This one I read through. And they are almost identical word for word, even in the first couple of pages. Now this newer copy includes some other stuff, but not much. On the back of it, almost like a hardbound book, there is a photograph and a little biography of Alan Dean Foster, and I found that to be really nice, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. On the back cover of both books is the exact same book breakdown. And very similar. So here is my review of the Tar Aiym Krang. So this will be, I'll just try to do a short version here and go through all this. Now this one, I don't know exactly when this one was published, because they do not include that. They say copyright 1972 by Alan Dean Foster, copyright renewed 2000, but the first edition was printed in March 1972, and then first mass market edition November 1981, and that is kind of mirrored in this one, which was also a Ballantine Del Rey book, and it pretty much says the same thing, except it goes through June 1984 for the 10th printing, and I assume that's what this one is. And both books have the same dedication to Larry Thor and John W. Campbell Jr. So I think we've pretty well covered the physical books here. This is a very nice edition. I got it off of Amazon, and as far as I can tell, it is brand new. So we're going to do a shorter review here, and I'll have a longer review in my post section for everyone to take a look at if you want to get real deep into it. This is the first published book of Pip and Flinx, and we are introduced to their environment and all the characters, all the main characters, pretty quickly in the book, really in the first like 5 or 6 pages. So we see Flinx we get a little history of Flinx being a young orphan for sale as a slave, and a person named Mother Mastiff notices him and rescues him by purchasing him. She also unexpectedly adopts Pip, a flying, poison-spitting snake who adopts Flinx too. So Mother teaches him, or them, because they're pretty much inseparable at this point, the ways of planet Moth and the primary city on the planet, Drallar, which I guess might be an indication of dollar, because it's strictly a business city. So she teaches him this so he can survive in this culture, and he learns. Foster begins the story and his prose in a very descriptive manner. The planet first and its wide array of commerce-seeking inhabitants, both temporary and permanent. He also describes the planet's trade commodities and the smell of the city Drallar, which I thought, well, okay then, we'll do that. But actually, the odor emanating from all the different races' culinary preferences is quite interesting and remarkable writing. I was kind of interested in it, and I had my wife read it, and she says, well, you don't read cuisine books, so you're not familiar with this type of writing. The overall fragrance is pleasant and non-toxic to all. And Foster spends some time detailing this. The complex, interesting story and journey begins at this point. I recommend this story. This novel. Foster likes to substitute more commonly used terms for somewhat rarely used words. I had to look up 3. You might want to keep your dictionary available. I think some of these substitutions were stretching it a bit, and here's the dictionary that I used right over here. And you might get a charge out of that. According to my research, Foster loved Golden Age SF, and I see a tremendous influence on this novel by 3 other and much older SF novels. This is not a criticism of Foster at all in any way, shape, or form. He built on what he learned as a youngster, just like everybody else. And if you enjoy this novel, you will probably like the below. I'm going to go in the order these books were printed, and I see very strong similarities between these 3 books and the Tar Aiym Krang. Slan by A.E. Van Vogt, 1940. Jamie Cross and his mental abilities leading to become an orphan at a toddler age. An old, cruel woman takes him in, exploiting him for years. The story progresses a lot further from there. In the Tar Aiym Krang, Mother Mastiff does the opposite of what Jamie Cross experiences early in his life. Citizen of the Galaxy. I would say this is the closest to this book. Flinx is very closely related to Thorby in Citizen of the Galaxy. Here is Slan, just so we're know where we're at here. And in Citizen of the Galaxy, Thorby is orphaned at infancy, sold into slavery, taken in by Baslam. Baslam is practically Mother Mastiff, and Baslam acclimates Thorby to the planetary culture that Baslam is currently residing on, and things go wrong as Thorby matures, but Baslam has taught him well. Storm over Warlock, Andre Norton, 1960. Flinx is again very closely related to the main character in Stormover Warlock, Shan Lanty, who is orphaned and removed from his home planet. Shan has an empathy gift with animals, Taggy and Togi, and really all other animals, gaining him a job in the Space Survey program as a animal husbandry, well, not husbandry, but just caretaker for the survey team. Shan experiences discrimination, combat, first contact with 2 alien races, and his empathy telepathy proves life-saving. In the second instance of contact, there's no use for it in the first contact. The aliens are too alien and just too violent. Another great novel of youth and maturity. A more thorough review will be in my post section. Since my SF fan club dissolved 30 years ago, I discussed this Foster with the Google AI, and it was very interesting and worthwhile. I will actually publish that conversation with the Google AI, and marking my responses and the AI's responses, and I think people will like it. Well, that's all I have for today, and I will come back. I got a few more books for Christmas, but not many, and I will continue my A.E. Van Vogt and Keith Laumer short stories that I think would be most interesting, but I will cover all the rest of the short stories with a couple of books and for each author, and get through that in just one more video each. Thanks a lot.